What's up guys, it's Steven, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how you can turn a basic melody like this into a super complex sample like this. So let's get into it. So the first thing I started with is this basic sound. It's just a one shot that sounds like this. And I just played this super simple melody that sounds like this. In this melody, I just used the classic 1/5 chord progression. This is a great progression for making like dark Travis Scott type samples. So the next sound that I added was this one shot pluck that sounds like this. And I just played this little top line that sounds like this. And then after that, the next sound I added was this accent type sound that just plays on the 1 and the 5. And then the last one shot that I used was just this accent synth again that sounds like this. And as you can tell, the accents are pretty in the background just to give it a little bit more texture. And then once I had all of those samples, this is what it sounds like. And once I had that, I decided to render it out and throw it into Fruity Slicer. In Fruity Slicer, I turned up the pitch by 600 cents, and then I turned down the stretch a lot so it'd have that stutter effect. And then I also turned up the attack to get rid of a lot of that clicking noise, and then I turned up the decay by a little bit. And so this is what it sounds like. And then for processing on the sound, I just used Pancake to pan it from right to left. And then I added this Effect Rack Echo Boy preset called Grit Snare. This also gave it a little bit of saturation to give it that distortion effect. And then I added another delay with a super small feedback. And then I added cassette with this preset called Insight Warm Keys just to make it sound a little bit more vintage. And then the last plugin I used was this plugin called Thermal, which basically gave it more distortion. And I just used this preset called Midranger. And then after that, the next sound that I added was this sub bass from the Mini Moog. It's this preset I found called Memory, and so here's the pattern that I played. And as you can tell, it has a lot of that Mike Dean, Travis Scott type sound in it, and this is because of the R bass that I added. This is a Waves plugin that basically adds another bass underneath your original bass, and there's a bunch of different presets that can manipulate your bass how you want it, but I just chose this preset called 808 Sub, and then I put a slight EQ to take out some of the highs and boost some of the lows. After that, I just added this accent one shot. This one shot just plays on the 1 and 5, so here's what it sounds like. Basically, I just added this one shot to give it like a psychedelic feeling, because it kind of sounds like some spaceship sound or something like that. And then I just added this EQ to take out a lot of the highs and the lows. And then after that, I added this synth one shot that just plays a super simple pattern that sounds like this. Again, it kind of follows the same chord progression as the original Again, it kind of follows the same chord progression as the original melody, which is just a 1/5. And then for the processing on the synth, I just added this EQ, and then I added the VHS RC20 preset. And then the last two plugins I added were this Spring Reverb by Arturia and this Fruity Delay. After that, I added this bell one shot that I made sound like a whistle, and here's what it sounds like. Pretty much for the sound, I just played an E and a B, and then I would add these slide notes that are pretty short, so it slides pretty quickly and it makes it sound kind of like a whistle. And then I just played it in this pattern that goes up and then it goes down, so yeah. And then the next sound that I added was another effect one shot that just plays a super simple melody. It sounds like this. Again, this is another one of those accents that I just put to make it sound a little bit more futuristic, and occupies a lot of the high end. And then the next sound that I added was this texture. It's just like a vinyl crackle sound that sounds like this. For this sound, I just pitched up an octave and then turned it down a lot to about 4%. And then after that, I just added this percussion loop by Only One. It's just... And then for this sound, I just pitched it down by like 4 or 5 cents, and then added this EQ to filter it out a lot. And so here's what it sounds like. This is basically just to make it sound a little bit more like a real sample. And then after that, I added another Only One percussion loop. And then I kind of did the same process by pitching it down and turning it down. And then for both of these percussion loops, I panned them one to the right and one to the left to kind of give them more space. And so here's what this one sounds like. And then the final sound that I added in the sample was this reverse chord. This sound just reverses up every time I play a chord, so here's what it sounds like. And then for the sound, I just added another pancake. And then for the sound, I just added another pancake just to kind of pan it from right to left. And then I added this EQ to take out a lot of the lows so it wouldn't be as muddy. And so here's what the final sample sounds like all together. And then for the mastering on this sample, the only plugin that I added was this mid-side matrix, and I just used the same preset I do every time, which I just turned up the mid by 2 and the side by 4. And so that's pretty much it for the sample. Hopefully you guys learned something in this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more stuff like this, because I'm going to be doing videos a lot more often. And so yeah, be sure to go follow my social medias at StevenSchaefer_, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.